Yeah, hi everybody. Today we have a special format. We do have a guest. We do have a special guest. We have Katharina Ros, Dr. Katharina Ros. Katharina, you're very present in all kind of media right now. And we both work for a long time together and try to solve some problems for the horses. And yeah, I'm super happy to have you here to discuss a few of issues, what we work together, and very warm welcome. And yeah, let's see what we can talk about.
I'm really happy that we're meeting now and that you made it possible to organize that and that we can chat and discuss about our favorite topic. So I'm up to it. For sure. Maybe we can really have some questions we talk about.
That's what we're gonna do. I'm looking forward.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, I believe people seeing us at this table might create the expectation, me talking about saddles and you talking about EZVM. But that isn't the thing we do in everyday's life. For me, it's much more about the modern sport horse, which is totally different from those horses we used to have until the late 80s of the last century. For this old type of horses, the actual valid teaching was written, equipment was established, and even the judging fits to these old type of horses. To those horses fits all the traditional knowledge. But this horse is not what I find today. I find really fantastic moving horses with a lot of scope and submission, and I really like them. We try to breed those horses ourselves. We actually burn our money with horses as well. This is our own stable here where we sit right now. Anyway, I have to point out they do have not so much in common with the horses in the older days. They have to be managed differently, totally differently. It is our main business to find new ways to keep them happy and healthy. And like you, we see the big picture. People who've seen your brave video on social media might reduce you and your work to ECBM, but that's not the Katharina Ros I work with. I think it's important to you to show the people there are ways to manage this kind of issues. And it's not always a disaster. Lots of things are possible to do.
Dass das nicht alles nur eine Katastrophe ist, sondern dass man auch ganz viel tun kann.
Yeah, for me it's very important that I'm not reduced to the topic of ECVM. Every horse is individual and we have to look at its strengths and weaknesses. And of course ECVM plays a role, but it's not that if a horse has that diagnosis, it's not cannot be a good riding horse or a healthy riding horse.
I mean, that's exactly what we see. And this is what pops out in my work every day. So the upcoming issues regarding the cervical spine we already see for more than 10 years, so it's not really new. The new thing is the awareness of trainers, manual therapists and some vets regarding the influence of saddles and tack on this issue. That's why we are in the picture. So they want us to look after the tack in order to avoid extra problems for the horse what actually already does have problems. So every horse, of course, does have weak and strong parts. That doesn't mean they are existing by accident. When you breed an animal with a clear goal what the animal should be able to do, you focus on that goal and then you leave others less interesting parts. So it's never a win-win for all the parts of the body, of course. And that means you only improve the goals you select on. And if you look at official breeding goals of the big breeding societies, you can see it's all about more gaits, higher knee action, better scope, uphill. They should be long-legged. It's pretty much about like a super modern, hypermobile horse.
Comfortable to sit on?
Yes, of course, comfortable to sit on, and many wonderful things what we all of us ask for. So of course, but what's not written is stability and just the capacity to carry the weight of a rider. So it's just not a breeding goal in any of the associations like notice to this story. So out of that we just breed what wins, what can be sold for good money, and that's what we breed. And even if you do not want to judge this direction, these modern hypermobile horses do not have the chance to carry the riders like they could in the former days. For us, we face the task to optimize the tech to make it easier to carry the rider, that's all. And that's what brings us together. So it's all about to avoid the negative effect of the weight of the rider. So to be honest, the rider on the back of the horse is such an unnatural thing, as we all know. But we forget it. And we shouldn't abuse the parts of the body that ends up more weak due to the breeding That's our goal. That's all.
Wenn wir das versuchen gemeinsam zu lösen.
Yeah, the situation now is different to 50 years ago. We don't have these sources anymore that we could use to put the soldiers into the war, where totally untrained riders were sitting on these horses for hours, riding walk for a long time, jumping through rough countrysides, over obstacles, galloping cross country, even galloping through the dark forest. And these horses were totally stable, they never stumbled. And these horses got really rare. In the last decades, we were breeding to produce a horse that is very comfortable to sit and highly elastic in the movements. And all, breeding strategies always bring you light and shadow. And I think we unconsciously even selected for ECVM and missing ribs because we wanted the high elasticity and the front leg, good front leg mechanics. And now now we have, the goal is we have these horses that also have wonderful abilities, and the goal is to train these horses. If we want to have a strong horse, nowadays we must train them, ideally with rider's weight, because if we have the weight on the horse, we have a higher training effect. And this is also your goal, Carsten, as you are trying to optimize the saddle in order to put the rider on the ideal centered spot on the horse. So again, that the horse can be trained.
And should have fun with it. I mean, but if you look back about riding a horse, about keeping a horse, about like the complete management, the tech, it just doesn't fit anymore. So for me, important is also the way how we should train a horse. So the teaching of riding by the old system from 1912 in Germany, we do say like good riding is enough to achieve every goal. So it's almost a holy grail. It's all this saying doesn't fit anymore. So good riding isn't enough by far. It's still super important, no question, but not enough for me. You just have to know a lot about your horse, about weak and strong parts in your horse. You have to make an analysis in order to do a good sport horse management. This ability is just not established in the horse world yet. So moreover, it's necessary for me to understand the job of the horse being a top athlete. So for me, it's a major point in the ongoing hysteric discussion at all the social media channels and elsewise, dividing our horses in hobby horses or sport horses. It makes me mad listening to people judging others only by the fact whether they have a business idea with horses or being a hobby rider. I mean, the horse have to carry them both. Doesn't matter what kind of job they do or in what or whom they believe in. So to carry a rider is top sport for the horse, and it needs proper training to enable the horse to do so. So to love a horse isn't a profession, and the idea to ride for hours in the forest on long reins and walk is for many horses is the worst what you can do. So to be very clear, a horse that has to carry a rider is a top athlete, completely independent what the rider says, and it has to look after like the top athlete. So it's our job to look at them. It needs an idea about training as well. So tech and maybe medical support is also needed in some ways. This point of view, this analysis is missing very often. So we do discuss this matter quite often. So please interrupt me if you feel different. But I'm convinced the horse tells you what it likes and what it doesn't. So you just have to ask the right questions. So I hear from some of your colleagues the saddle should lay like this or should lay like that, and also from my colleagues. But I mean, why not asking the horse? We have to ask the horse. That's the very simple thing. The horse.
You have to listen to the horse.
Absolutely, they have an opinion. You have to ask them.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, it means I have to put a few saddles to choose on the horse. I have to put the rider in different positions to understand what the horse likes. So saddle fitting is pretty much related to physics, to biomechanics, and not so much to tradition. So if someone comes and take a template of the still standing horse, it's really nothing what can help the horse to move freely. Out of this, the beginning and the end of the saddle area isn't defined properly. So to build a customized saddle based on such a poor thing is for me more an adventure than a proper saddle fit. So, and if you do so, the horse has no chance to tell you what it really likes.
Now I want to say something. Horses that are challenged to carry weight can't be ridden in work for a longer time. Many old trainers used to say, ride your horse 20 to 30 minutes walk before you even start training the horse. We learned with the modern horse that overlastic horse, it's not good to ride walk. It's better to warm up the horse in hand, get on the horse, ride trot, gallop transitions, and keep the walk periods as short as possible. And when I have a new client and I ask the history of the horse, I ask the rider, how is your horse when you ride walk? With long reins, and then you take the reins shorter. Is the horse in front of you, in front of the leg? Is the horse good in the connection to the bit? Is it on your eight or not? Some riders are not very educated, and usually their horses have very hard time to lift up the thorax. And in trot, when you trot the horse, the thorax gets moved anyway up, and that helps to, position it there. So the less educated riders with the weak horses should not ride walk at all. I'm talking about not very well trained horses for sure, not athletic horses. So I'm treating horses for a long time already, even as an osteopath, and the goal is always to lift up the thorax, to engage the neck muscles, put the spinous process apart, and this has been in the former times 2-3 centimeters. Now the horses lift up to 8 and 10 centimeters, and they don't have strength in the thorax. So they really have to. They really changed the shape of the back.
Yeah, these horses you could measure, so this you can make a template for, but not with 10 centimeters. It's just impossible.
And then these horses change totally the shape of their back. Some get really straight, some get really wide behind the shoulder, also different in different gaits. Walk, trot, gallop totally different sometimes. That's why we need to stop fitting saddles on the standing horse. And this is a really good thing about you, Carsten, because you are experimenting with the saddles during the riding process. And of course, the horse's back changes with the training process and when it's built up more and the thorax is positioned higher.
Yeah, and of course, it's also a dynamic process, but sometimes you also do totally different things than what you usually do. So if you look at young horse riding, especially with the horses what has easy VM issues, they're super mobile and with a perfect submission usually. And for example, one of our own breedings, Lilleblot, it was a nice boy, which we recently sold. He was super flexible, super nice horse. And he struggled to get his loose body stable on the rider. So it was everything fine while running free, but on the rider he was like a little bit all over. And to help him as a young horse, I did a saddle fit against all odds. I mean, Mr. Shoulder Free, is known for that. I locked the shoulder with purpose. And I did it with an old-fashioned saddle with a long gullet plate, like more in a traditional way. And with this, we stopped the mobility of the shoulder in order to give him the stability his skeleton just couldn't give him. So and he loved it and he improved, and of course everything while riding, because without rider he hadn't the issue, but he really improved and it went very well. And we also had to work him different. So instead of forward to straighten the horse, we had to slow him down and to give him the chance to find his balance and work out the right muscles. So we are happy we could sell him to a very good rider, and he will be a sport horse with a lot of ribbons and a long career, we hope. So again, we closed him in the front. He has easy VM on both sides, but now after he became strong, we can open the saddle again. And with 6 years, he can start now to be a dressage horse. So what I believe, and something you and me talk a lot about, is the work from the ground to train a horse. Like we started a program with the Danish expert Morten Thomsen, will be the future to prepare horses to be riding horse. So a kind of Pilates for horses, you might say, and to make them fit to carry a rider. You said we have to ride them and to make them strong, but also we have to prepare them, if you ask me. because they are born not that strong than they were. So they are born, guess you might confirm, so more ready for all the difficult stuff. The only thing what's missing is the capacity to carry riders' weight. So it's pretty much a different horse what we have today in the stable, and we have to find other solutions to keep them healthy and make them happy.
Right, this is the point. When I do examine horses, I lift up the thorax and then I watch how the horse coordinates this and how much strength it does have on a lifted position. When you see the horse more often, you can then judge if it does better and better, gets stronger and stronger. And then there's a study from Sudais, a recent study, that states that riders should have less weight than 10 to 15% of the body weight of the horse. But this is not totally valid. Some tall horses are capable to carry a lot less weight than a lot more smaller and skinny horses. And I believe it's very important that not heavy people are sitting on small horses' backs. But if you see what kind of weights are carried from tiny skinny donkeys in India or Africa, for example, it's obvious that they are stronger than many of our warm blood horses, especially the tall, elastic horses with long legs and exclusive front leg mechanics often are only able to carry very light riders nowadays. I rarely see horses that are capable to carry normal weight riders, or only after they have been trained a lot.
Yeah, and I do not really feel familiar with the donkey story, but as a young man, I broke in a lot of horses, and there were a lot of wild ones there as well. And of course, they couldn't trot and jump like today, but they had no issue to carry my weight, and that's different to today. And of course, they tried to kick me off, and they had the capacity to do so. So when you look at them today, and they have so much more capacity to carry themselves, and out of this, they are able to achieve results very early. So you sometimes ask yourself, how is it possible at that age? So it's genetic there. It's what the popular riding master Gustav Rau once said in the late 60s, I believe. We should breed horses that are able to do all the difficult stuff by genetic potential, what an educated horse could do when it has been ridden for 10 years. That horse we have now, everything is there. So it seems no one really sees the story and the problem, what is behind. So these horses are so different, and there's nearly no science about them. So it's a huge problem for me and for you as well, I think. And not even size matters. So for example, we have a 180 centimeters tall horse here, what I love to ride, but I'm too heavy. With 80 kilos, I'm too heavy. So that's insane. It allows a saddle with a size 16 on it, so it's a crazy thing. So recently they invited me for Breeding Association to report about my job, because they see the things moves in the wrong direction as well, and of course they want to breed a good horse for the future, and they discuss a lot, and your matter as well. And so it was a strange experience to understand that no one of the breeding judges have a clear definition of the saddle area. So, I mean, they mark it, they rate it, without knowing where it is exactly. So that's crazy. It means if you want to provoke a little bit, you might recommend the association only selling horses for people who fit in a 16 size saddle. So in top sport, you see them, the riders more and more like that. And so we search for physical solutions, of course, and we do everything what is possible, but it's limited, of course. And I think we have to discuss this and bring back things like capacity to carry a rider to the breeding goals, and also like length of the saddle area and stuff like that to keep the horses healthy. We just need a kind of a turnaround what we want to breed.
And I see the same. If you look like top sports horses, like everybody knows Great Milton with Cical, and nowadays he looks like a dachshund, very long back and very short legs. But what kind of performance did he show the world? I mean, he was one of the best horses ever. Modern horses nowadays many times have super long legs, very short backs, and really no space for the saddle. And together with that, most of the time, no space in the mouth to fit a bit in. not even a single one, but for sure in many horses it's not possible to put 2 bits in. And I do a lot of equine dentistry for a long time already, and nowadays we struggle a lot to fit bits in the mouth. And there's even scientific research of the University of Hanover that the heads of the horses got a lot shorter and smaller in the last decades, from the outside and also the inside, and especially in the bit area. And some heads of these horses are so short, modern horses, that the teeth don't fit in the jaw anymore, and then they really bite their tissues open in the back of the oral cavity. It's really brachycephalic horses. And these horses suffer tremendously, and this is also the reason why we started to talk with several breeding associations together with our Professor Ottmar Distel.
It's really your duty to do so.
And these breeding associations only see the foals, the young horses, the stallions, the good horses, and they don't see the sick horses, the older horses, the problems that we as vets see. I think that we as professionals need to talk about problems that we see. And I think breeding now really goes in the wrong direction mainly. Many old specialized equine vets agree that I talk to, but they don't dare to speak out in the public. And I'm very concerned about keeping the gift of that wonderful heritage of our horses, our riding horses, that we are losing it. And if I look back, to when I started to work as a vet, I used to take care of quite a number of horses from certain riders that I managed from 3-year-old up to being on medium or S level, and they performed up to 18 years or more, being healthy in their life, and even into their 20s still being teaching horses. And this after they did a long life sports career on top level. And we managed them, but almost with no treatments, just common sense. And in former times also normal riders could make it up to M and S levels, and now the young riders don't make it into the high levels anymore because the teaching horses are missing, because the modern horses stop their careers too early.
But there's just a trend to do better. But one more thing I really want to point out. So people expect more advice from the veterinarian science about what is right and what is wrong. I mean, it just cannot be that a judge, usually without any veterinarian background and not aware of these specific issues, since they are not educated in these kind of questions, that these people decide what kind of horses we should breed. Like indirectly, of course, in the way how they rate the horses, but those who gonna win, that's the one what gonna be breeded. So it must be the pure interest of the veterinarian, of all veterinarians, to say stop at the right moment, and we want to keep these horses. I mean, we like it that they move and that they jump and that they're easy to ride. We just have to bring back other goals, like the capacity to carry a rider's weight and stability, and that's what we have to bring back, instead of like only going backwards. I don't want to go backwards. So, I mean, you told me about breeding cattle where they also ran in the wrong direction, but they understood and they made it turn around, and it will take years probably, but it's possible to do, and we should do. And important for me is also it's just that we have to manage the horses today, what we have today. So we are, for example, reactivate an older deer with specific air panels. We reinvented them to make the ride. In the end, we made them lighter and smaller in the sensation of the horse, and the horse feel the rider later, and that helps. That helps a lot. Today, a lot of horses want the rider not so close. They just need more freedom in the spine, and also a little bit independence from the riders, because the rider locks more than it helps. So we fixed a lot of technical problems, and we do search for technologies, and And we just are going now to start more exchange with you, with the veterinarians, with riders, with judges, with we use this kind of format to meet and exchange, and I'm really looking forward to help the horses and to help us.
Yes, we need the discussion, we need the open talk. Also, the vets in your world need to talk to you as a saddle maker. The owners that are coming to me have very many questions. That's why we are sitting here, because people are planning to produce videos so that the owners can watch them to find questions, and even watch them again and again. And we try to get the videos right, so that's good for everybody.
Yeah, that's what we hear a lot from clients. They look some videos more often because it's so much information. And you and me, we do this for so many years, and so for me it's like 25 now, so it's hard to report everything we learned in, let's say, 20 years. So to report this to someone in an hour of an appointment, what I have with a saddle fitting, or you with a like appointment with a client, is nearly impossible. So even me struggle to remember everything when we both discuss. So there's so many details, and that's sometimes also very related to so many other knowledge. It's totally normal that things have to be like looked twice and 3 times sometimes. We thought to start a series of videos about several topics. And we are looking forward to everything what we can do for our modern sport horses in this way. And I'm very convinced that it is not everything about like science evidence. It's also something happens in stables, in clinics, and people find out things. And it doesn't help the client and me in my stable when I have an issue that some vets might have an academic discussion about something. I need a solution. I need an idea. I need someone who can fix a problem. And we meet these people, and we just got to talk to them, and we're going to show you what we learn.
Right, we can only explain what we know now from our experience. Maybe in 5 or 10 years we change our opinion or our treatments because we learned more. But now we are for sure searching for solutions, and we are trying out a lot of things to figure out what works to help.
Exactly, and we do have already a couple of things, and we are looking forward to show you this. And it's a great time, and thank you. Great.
Very good, fantastic.